Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. And today, well, it is the second Tuesday of February. Goodness. Almost Love Day coming up.
We blew it off. We're doing that on Friday.
And I have my awesome co-host, Tracy, which you just heard, Tracy McBurney. And, well, it should be interesting. We're going to talk about the learning button. I'm kind of fascinated by hearing just what that possibility is.
Okay, so first of all, let's just recognize I could be making this up in the sense that maybe it's not a button, maybe it's a switch. There is something going on here, and I know it. I just witnessed this with my brother fixing my parents' garage door, and I just know that I just saw evidence of something significant and went, wow. Like, wow, what does that mean for us? Like, I would say this a lot, like what we create outside of ourselves is a reflection of us within, right? It's not ahead of us. It can never be ahead of us. Whatever's out here is never ahead of us. We are creating it, right? So, anyway, so to make a short story here, the exciting part of the learning of this was watching my brother fix what was going on with the electronic garage door at my parents' house. And now I had kind of intuitively gone, it's a battery. There's a battery out of a little box right on the outside of the door. I just went, I don't know how to get into that little box, but I'm sure there's a battery there and I'm sure that's the problem. Okay. And my brother was kind of saying, well, yeah, maybe. But even if it is the problem, we have to reset the code. So he said, I've got to get into the garage. I've got to get up high enough. He's like 6'5", so he didn't even need a ladder. He just reached up like one of the big basketball players. Mm-hmm. He's just reaching up and he's pulling down this kind of shielding because he wants to access the buttons that are there. And so he knows that there's a code that has to be transferred from there at the top of the ceiling of the garage, digitally transferred, like through the air transferred to this little box.
Right.
So he pushes in the code and he knows what the code is that he wants it to learn. And so he thinks, okay, this is what he needs to do. So then he comes over to the little keypad out in the outside of the door. And this is the cool part. He pushes this button and he's pushing the button and he's saying outside of himself, he's like, learn, learn, learn. Like 3 times he's doing this. And then what he wants to happen doesn't happen. So he goes, this little box isn't learning. All right. So he goes back and he goes and checks a few things and he wants to make sure certain things on the top of the ceiling of the garage are working. And so he wants me to check something. And he goes and does the whole thing again. So he puts in the code and it's supposed to transfer its information through the amazing air to this little box. And he goes and does the same thing again, pushes the buttons of the little box, learn, 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 and nothing happens.
Because there's no battery.
So then he says, well, I think it's got to be a battery. So then we have to figure out how to get the batteries and getting into the little place, and it was all painted over. And so anyway, it took a bit of time. We get the battery sorted and changed. And now we have to do the whole thing again. And I'm watching this. And I'm up and I'm already excited about this. And so he puts in the code and comes over to the little box, learn, 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 and everything works. And everything works. And I'm going, wow, it's a battery and it's the box's capacity to be able to learn.
Oh.
The learning button, nothing was going to work until he pushed that button. So the battery wasn't just the problem. It was the fact that he had to be pushing a working learning button to be able to get this to work. And I just looked and went, shit, learning button. We have learning buttons. We have learning buttons. We have learning switches. I know we've either got a switch, a button. I know we work like this. I absolutely know we work like this. And I just got really excited. And I started to think about learning. I started to think about learning. I started to think about willingness to learn. I started to think about me and learning and where I have problems learning and what I say to myself, I have problems learning, and what I have problems learning or what I just refuse to learn. My mother refusing to learn. She's just refusing to learn anything to do with text, mostly. Right. Anything to do with her cell phone. She's just refusing. So she's just refusing to push her learning button. She's just refusing to put the switch up. Now, why my mother wants to continue to do that, she's got maybe all of her reasons, like I don't have the software, I don't have the brain that's good, whatever it is. But Mom, you don't even know if you've got the brain to do any of this because you're not pushing the button. Like you're not lifting the switch. And what is that? You don't want to look like a fool. You don't like, what is this? And so I just sat with this. I sat with the concept of how challenging it is for me to learn from somebody that has a very thick accent or even to listen to them. So forget about learning. I just find it challenging to listen to them. So then if I can't listen to you, then how am I going to be able to learn from you? I'm not going to be able to learn from you. So I decide that I'm not going to be able to learn from you because I can't really listen to you because I can't really figure out what you're saying. So I'm not pushing the learning button. I'm not flipping the switch for learning because I've already decided I can't hear you. I don't understand. I can't understand what you're saying. So if I can't understand what you're saying and I can't understand the tone, I can't understand the dialect, then I'm not learning from you and I'm not pushing that button. And so I really got excited about this concept. And then I thought, teachers know this, like they know this on some level, like they would say something like, that boy, Johnny, he just can't learn from anyone. He just can't learn from anyone. He's just got to do it all himself. He's just got to bring it in his own way. He just can't learn from anybody else. That boy, Johnny, he just can't learn from anybody else. And I'm going, So is that a desire not to push the learning button, Johnny? Is that a desire like you have a learning button because you're over there doing all of this yourself, learning from the textbook all by yourself? You're learning, you push the button, it's you and the textbook and you're learning, but you're not pushing the button to learn from anybody else? That's interesting, Johnny. Did you know you have a learning button? Did you know you have a learning button? Did you know that you're absolutely resistant to learning from anything that is a person of any kind? Johnny. But the teacher would recognize it, but maybe they wouldn't recognize this concept of this button. Right. Or maybe they would, but they wouldn't think about it this way. And so I was having a lot of fun with this concept and finding it very interesting to go back into my own life, to go back into I had challenges learning. Well, I'm thinking mathematics, having challenges learning grade 12 math. And then, of course, having challenges learning grade 12 math. Well, why was I having challenges learning grade 12 math? Well, it had something to do with that teacher. It had something to do with how fast that teacher was teaching. It had to do with how the equations that teacher had put on the board and how fast that teacher had put all of that stuff on the board and how lost I got. So then I got lost, and it seemed like the teacher didn't seem to care that I'd gotten lost or that half the class had gotten lost. This teacher was now just teaching to the 4 or 5 students in the front of the room that hadn't gotten lost. And the rest of us were just kind of sitting there lost, like brains that were lost. And definitely not pushing the learning button because we're too busy being lost. And what's that? Is that we just can't learn this? We just give up learning this? We just give up learning this from this person. We just give up. We just give up on learning. We just think of ourselves as stupid. We just think of ourselves as idiots. We just think of ourselves as not good in math. We just think the teacher's an idiot. So we're not pushing the learning button because the teacher's it's a really interesting thing to investigate. What was going on in the brain? What was going on emotionally? What was going on physically in the room? is that I can't learn, and the kid who doesn't even know that he can't learn because it's about the fluorescent lights in the room, or he can't learn because it's the air quality in the room, so he can't think, so he's lost. So what got him lost? It wasn't the teacher, it wasn't the teacher's tone, it wasn't the teacher's accent, it wasn't how quickly or not quickly the teacher was talking. It was about the fluorescent lights in the room. So that kid is lost. And that kid is lost, so that kid's not turning the learning button on because they're lost. They're lost in a sea of light that they can't bring in, that they can't integrate, they can't manage. Or they're lost in the air quality, they're lost in the chemicals that are in the room. They've gotten lost because of the chemicals in the room. So they're not pushing that learning button. Or they're not pushing the learning button, not because they're lost, because they're just freaking angry. They're just angry. You've got an ego that's in the room that's just angry. It's like, holy crap, this teacher's going so fast. Holy crap, this teacher's just a, holy crap, this teacher doesn't care about. And so they're not pushing the learning button because I'm not cooperating with this teacher. I am not giving this teacher one freaking inch. I am just not. This teacher does not deserve my cooperation. This teacher does not deserve my kindness. This teacher deserves nothing from me. I am just not pushing that button. He hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned the right for me to push that button. That's the learning button. He hasn't engaged me. He hasn't tricked me. He hasn't coddled me. He hasn't played nice with me. Whatever. So I'm just not pushing that button. And no matter what you say, no matter what apology you make, teacher, I'm just not pushing that button because you have not learned. You have not learned what you need to learn to be able to be with me, to be able to work with me, to be able to be simpatico with me, teacher. You just haven't learned. So I'm just not pushing it because it's my button. Can't push that button. You can't make me push that button. So I'm just not pushing that button. And I'm just going to keep not pushing it. So I just had a lot of fun with this. Mm-hmm. And a lot of fun with the potential psychologies around all of it. Because it is our button. One thing that I was, our switch, our button, one thing I was really clear about, it's ours. Right. Nobody else can push that button. Nobody else can turn on that switch but us. Nobody else can make that happen. It's ours. It's ours to turn on. Turn off. It's ours to push or not push. We are in charge of that button. And it's a really interesting energy. Like if you feel the energy in the room when I say that. It's like we are in charge of that. And we can put so many things in. And so many things get in the way that we don't really even realize. You know, the chemicals in the food that we ate at lunch just got in the way. Like I don't even have the energy to push that button. I just don't even have the brain to push that button. Like the poor brain going, no, can't push that button. I'm just too swirling with lunch.
Of course, it's not just school that we're talking.
No, it's not. It's everything. Like it's been interesting for me to watch the last 2.5 years with really feeling like learning some new things, learning some new energy medicine things, learning some new things about quantum physics, learning some new things from Greg Braden or some of the people that I really like to learn from, how much more challenging it felt that was. That I could sit with these pieces of information, but to be able to get them into my brain, so they were usable amounts of information so I could do something with them. It felt like, man, I sat there. I was engaged with the class. I really loved sitting with Greg Braden. I really loved sitting with Bruce Lipton. I always do. I sat with them. I was with them. I made my notes. And then I went to talk to my husband about it. I went to talk to my girlfriend about it. I couldn't put two things together to have an articulate conversation with a friend or with my husband about what I just sat there and loved to be in the presence of. And I went, what's going on? I'm usually better than this. And then I started to remember, well, wait a minute, Trace, is that really the truth? Like, how many times did you have to sit and listen to Greg Brady talk to you about some concepts that he always talks about? How many times did you need to sit listening to him before you really got it, before you really could speak about it, articulate it, make sense of it, deliver it out to a classroom, deliver it out to your husband, deliver it out to a friend, eloquently, beautifully? Like, did you really just get it the first time? Did that really actually happen? And when I really looked at that honestly, probably not. What really happened on those days when I was sitting listening to Greg Brady for the first time, like maybe every once in a while something stuck, like something really stuck, and I could just, Laurie, I learned this today about solar flares, and it really stuck. But most times it took a while. It took repeating the information. It took him framing it a little bit different way for me to go, oh. But I still think, even after having that nice bit of honesty kind of reorder me, I still think it just hasn't been as easy. It hasn't been as easy. And then I'm kind of like, okay, well, what's that about? Was it easier because I was more passionate about the subjects previously? Has something been destructive to my passion? Probably. That would be answer yes. And does that have some consequence to engagement? And the answer is absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. Because our whole body is healing. Not just our ears going into our brain. We've got little brains at all the cells of our body, little brains, the cellular membrane, as Bruce Lipton so beautifully teaches us and shows us and delivers up to the world. And still the textbooks do not reflect this new truth, that the brain of the cell is actually the cell membrane of the cell, not the nucleus. And I wonder how many more years we're going to teach non-truth to the kids that are coming up in school. But it is true. Our whole body hears. There is brain at our whole body. We hear, our whole body hears. Our whole body hears what we're saying, hears what's going on, hears Bruce Lipton. And so then it's like, does that mean our whole body understands? Our whole body comes to understand? Does it mean that maybe if we've got a bunch of toxins in our body, that maybe there's whole sections of our body that aren't understanding at all because they're so toxified with whatever, it's interfering with learning. It's interfering with the button that got pushed, but the learning is just not as deliciously coming in. Because of the cyanide, this is a cool thing to know, because of the cyanide chemicals that are in the bloodstream, because you are one of the people, like what was going on with me with a chromosome issue, that's eating broccoli, that's eating these vegetables that are supposed to be so beautiful for you. But the DNA problem is that my body was not breaking down the chemicals that were in the vegetables the way it would be beautiful to do. And so I was getting residual amounts of cyanide in the bloodstream. So could additional amounts of cyanide in the bloodstream coming from vegetables that are supposed to be good for you, but not good for you if you have this chromosomal issue? So now you're trying to learn and you push the button for learning, but you got a bunch of cyanide chemical poisoning the brain and the body while you're trying to learn your new Greg Braden topics. It's kind of can you believe that? I had to bring that forward so that maybe some people would hear this. It's like, I think my mother might have this chromosomal issue. She doesn't like vegetables. She says they're not good for her, except for carrots, which she puts a cream sauce with, little tips of the asparagus. Both of those things not included in this chromosomal issue, by the way. And so I'm going, wow, you know what? Maybe my mother does know lots about how to take care of her 87-year-old body that she has not given vegetables to for her whole life, pretty much as she was allowed to do. And maybe that kept her unpoisoned for all these years and able to learn better as she pushed her learning button. Like when I found that out, when we were doing the readjustment of that chromosome for me, and when it was found out, we were doing the work to reorder that, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was now being told about that particular chromosomal issue. And vegetables. I'm a nutritionist, right? Like, it's like vegetables are things that you tell people to eat that are good for you. This is what we do. And anyway, it was an interesting wake up call to recognize, well, good for some people, maybe good for a lot of people, but not necessarily good for those people who are then getting cyanide poisoning when they're going, well, I've got to eat these vegetables because there's the peer pressure of everybody saying we have to all eat this way. And compromising the learning button that got turned on in the process. So, yeah, it's an interesting world and that we live in. And I like to kind of just look and say, well, my mom did know. She does know. She does know quite a lot about how to take care of her, as I kept trying to guide her into other places that would be better for her. It's interesting that arrogance, humility kind of staring you in the face when you really get amused by it like that. So yeah, learning button.
Learning
So
button.
what do you think, Laurie? You and your learning button. How's your learning button doing?
It's a good question. I'm going back in school and most of my issues. I mean, I love school, but I like the social part of school. I didn't care about the academic part of school. Both science and math were not my thing. And I think because I didn't get, like you said, the people that didn't ever help me understand it. I never quite grasped it. So interesting concept. Right now, the thing I'm working on is learning, I know my intuition is excellent, like really excellent for other people. And I know you've taught me how to do the body pendulum, and I still can't quite, my learning button for that seems to be, I don't know, skeptic. And not skeptic because I don't believe you, just skeptic because my experience in using for myself is not 100%. It's usually the opposite.
Let me throw a ball out around this, and let's drill down and see whether we can give you a little help on some of the questions that you haven't been able to answer for yourself.
Yeah.
But here's just kind of a little food for thought on this. It's, your shit is that your shit. You know what you've done wrong. You know where you've lied. You know you.
Mm-hmm.
You know those moments where you went, wow, I did something that just wasn't so trustworthy. Like, you know you. And you know what you've been capable of. So then maybe you just haven't made peace with some of those moments. So it's like, well, then I don't trust myself. Then it's just really maybe looking at something like that. Just, do I need to make peace with a time in my life where I got it wrong? And there were consequences to my getting it. And I hurt myself or I hurt somebody else, and I don't want to hurt me and I don't want to hurt anybody else. So I can't do this for me because I know I have the potential to get it wrong. And I know I have the potential to get it really wrong. And I know that, so then I'm not sure I could trust me to get it right, to do the hard thing, to walk the path, or it could be I don't see myself as, and it's also the blind spot. It's like we have a blind spot. We really have that place within us where we just cannot see the forest for the trees. We cannot see what this is about. And it's why we do need to have conversations with other people who then can see the blind spot. They can really just go, they can hear something or they know something, and then they can poke at something, and then you have that gulp, like you have that, like I can't believe you said that. Like, I can't believe we went here. I can't believe I'm here again. No, 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 no. I didn't want to go here again. It's like you're just in that place that you are trying to protect yourself from ever going back to again. And so any of those things can be exactly why it becomes problematic sometimes to work with yourself. Sometimes it's easier.
Yes.
And it just depends. But when it's tricky, like this thing that you're talking about right now, it's a little trickier. And I say that because it sounds to me like this is one of those moments where it's a level 3, level 4, kind of healing moment. Meaning it's not as simple as one thing.
Right.
It's not just about changing one thing. And when I say a level 4 healing, it's you have to drill down to find the 3 things or the 4 things. It's not just one thing. So it is a series of changes. It's a series of pieces being discovered that collectively, when they're all found, like a treasure hunt, when they're all found, when you find that last one and you can shift all of it, then it doesn't just shift for you. It shifts for 100 people that are webbed into you, or it shifts for 1,000 people that are webbed into you, or hundreds of thousand people that are netted in a matrix with you. And all of them have needed to be made ready for that moment. And that moment is not going to fall, that last little piece, that last little morsel that you go, that's it. Why couldn't I see that before? It's like that's it moment was not supposed to come until everybody that's netted into you had been made ready for this shift. Because when you finally get that last little jewel, when you finally get it, and it now starts to shift and rise like a tidal wave, it's going, ooh, and it's moving something for everybody that's netted into this. So that's what I say, 4th level healing person, 3rd level healing person, healing for more than just themselves. So it's not easy. It takes more time. It doesn't just flow deliciously because there are more people involved in this. And this is a change for many people potentially. And it could be the reason, it just could be the reason why you woke up, I'm making this up right now and maybe I'm not, could be the reason why you woke up like 3.5 weeks ago one day and you felt amazing. And you just felt amazing. You just felt so joyful, so cheerful. You're going, this isn't necessarily me. Like, what's going on? Like, I just feel great. I feel younger. I feel fresher. I feel lighter. I feel more joyful. I feel like I could run around the block today. And it's just like, and you're kind of going, what? What did I do? What did I do? What did I eat yesterday? I want to eat it again. What did I drink yesterday? I want to drink it again. What color was I wearing yesterday? I got to wear it all the time. Like, it's like, what was I doing yesterday? And it's like, maybe the answer is it wasn't anything about what you were doing. It was about what somebody else was doing. What somebody else was doing 190,000 miles away from you in another portion of the world, and you are webbed into this by agreement. And they were the kingpin, and they found that last difficult thing that then just went, and the wave of healing just rose up, and it went out all the way across the ocean, all the way around the world. And you were one of the beautiful 1.5 million people that were shifted and changed by that. And you did nothing except allow yourself to be made ready. And even though you don't even know what that means, you just let yourself be made ready. You just went to sleep every night, and every night the guides, all the invisible things going on while you're sleeping are just making the shifts and changes, rearranging some things, making you ready for that time. And it didn't have anything to do with what you were wearing the day before, what you were eating the day before, what you got involved with, the movie that you watched, none of it. Or maybe it did. Maybe that movie that you watched and that one thing that you saw in that movie that had you shifting your mind about something was important, and you were guided to that movie because they knew that that was in that movie. Right. And so you were going to watch that movie. but it didn't have anything to do with what you wore. And it didn't have anything to do with what you do for a living. And so this could be one of those moments where when it all comes together, it doesn't just come together for just you. Okay. So, well, let's have some fun with this for a second. And see if we can give you some answers that, you haven't had so far. So why don't you just set it up?
Okay. So for people who do follow my show, I had a lovely show with Laurie Huston, who is, among other things, a medical intuitive. And we went through and she talked to my body. She asked me what I wanted to discuss, which I brought up the hormone thing.
So she's talking to your conscious mind. She's not getting this from your body, right? She's getting this from your conscious mind.
Getting it from my body. When she teaches people how to do medical intuition, she says she connects in with the body.
So it's the body that's saying hormones, and it's the body. And so
I was the one. She asked me what I'd like to look at. So I said,
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So that's what I mean consciously. You consciously said, this is what I want to look at.
Yes, that was me.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I just wanted to be clear that it wasn't the body saying this is what the body wants to be looked at.
So when she checked in with my body, it wasn't my hormones that came up first, what came up, my digestion, and that I knew consciously that I had some candida still. There's also H. pylori, which I didn't understand at all, but is a bacteria. She says, so my digestion was running hot, and the H. pylori was in my small intestines. And so she says, so that's the first place my body took her. And then the second place was then my reproductive system, which she said was cold. And she said that my estrogen was really low, but she said my progesterone, reason that I'm feeling the hot flashes and stuff, that's really lowballing it. But that's pretty much what we talked about.
So the heat in your digestion, so questions for the body might be something like, okay, is the heat in your digestion being created by infection? Because H. pylori is a bacteria that is then potentially in kind of an infection in the small intestine.
Over the last 3.5 weeks, I've been really conscious of, I really like peanut butter. And my body really doesn't like peanut butter. Like it gets acidy. I feel like it's almost like a lump in my stomach.
Right. So, well, I just did a quick test. So while you were talking, I just thought, well, it's one of the things that I teach in the muscle testing class, right? The one that I love to teach live, not necessarily by Zoom, but I'm getting better at Zoom. So the concept of using your body as a pendulum to say, okay, well, what is the yes and what is the no and what is allergy? So how does your individual body show you allergy and how does it show you intolerance? So for you, if I get here so you can actually see it. So for you, the yes is a forward, so you're like me, and the no is a backward, and so you're like me. But you're not like me with allergy. Right. So when I go, okay, well, what's your allergy? You go off to the right, and then you bounce back. So it's almost like you do a half turn to 3 o'clock, and you bounce back, and almost bounce back a little bit over this way, but then you stop. So it's like, that's allergy for you. There's like a tick-tock on one side, and they'll go, okay, what's intolerance? And so intolerance, you go back and then around. It's like, ooh. Oh. Back and then around. So it's quite different and that's you. That's your individual way of working your own nervous system. So you have an allergy to peanut butter.
Oh, an actual allergy.
Yeah. So you have an allergy to peanut butter. Allergies are blocks in the system. So as long as the body is okay with the releasing of the blocks, that's just Chinese medicine. As long as then they can be released. And the allergy can be released and the body's no longer going to be reacting that way. The interestingly cool thing to know about allergies is that we will crave the things that we're allergic to, or we will become quite adverse to them. Like, get that away from me. Like, get that away from me. So it's all the frequency. So yes, let me eat all that. Yes. Or just no, like just the adverse, like get that a million miles away from me. And there doesn't seem to be anything in between mostly. So I'm not surprised that you say, I love peanut butter, because people love the things that they're allergic to. And there's all sorts of the histamine reactions and things that can create holes places. So I just wanted to say that. So you have an allergy for peanut, and then I'm asking the body whether the body is open for that to be released. And yes, so I'm not going to kind of do that on the show, but your body's open for that to be released, so we can do that, and that'll be interesting to see, number one, whether you crave it the way that you were craving it, because that normally just goes away. Like the obsessive kind of, I'm thinking about it, I want it, I really, all of that just goes away. The whole psychology goes away. Because in the allergy, it's about the chemicals. It's about the chemical addict. It's about the histamines and all these other things that are going on in the bloodstream. It's like, yes, let's have more of that, the drug addict. And so we're just taking all those drugs and calming them down. And there won't be any histamine, there won't be any adrenaline, there won't be any of these things that your body also might have an allergy to, which is also interesting to look at. Okay, so just wanted to say that out loud. Okay, so then, all right, so it's nice of her to tell us about the H. pylori bacteria. So now it's kind of like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do, body? First of all, is this one of the priorities? Yes, it is. Okay. So what are we going to do to take care of this problem, to rebalance this problem, to rebalance what's going on in the small intestine? Small intestine, by the way, is passion. So I live in passion. I am passionate. Yeah. So passion is a very lovely place connecting into small intestine. So is joy. And actually, joy is even more than passion. So let me correct that. Really, passion really is more of a gallbladder piece. So let me just rewind that. Joy is actually where you're sitting with small intestine. And from a Chinese medicine perspective, joy is connecting to heart and small intestine. So I jump with joy. I live in joy. I am a joy to be around. I am a joy to be around. And so your relationship with joy. So now you've got bacteria that is not really supposed to be in your body anywhere. It's not a good thing to have H. pylori bacteria residing in the body. Is now residing in your small intestine. So why would the bacteria decide that the home it wants to make is in your small intestine? Why would it not be sitting in the stomach? Why would it not? Why is it chosen there? It's chosen there because that is a less oxygenated place. It's a friendlier place for it to thrive in, which means it's not flowing as well as some of these other places. So it's a little darker. There's a little less oxygen flowing. It's just not as happy. The small intestine is not as happy, not as healthy. And so the H. pylori bacteria is going, perfect. This will be my home, right? So it does kind of send a few messages, right? Like what's going on with you and your relationship with joy, right? Just think. Right. So then we look at those affirmations. I put you into the mirror, or I get you to just imagine. So just shut your eyes.
Yeah. I
yourself, yeah. But it's a nice exercise for people to know, like to imagine themselves staring at themselves in a mirror, looking in their left eye. So you're in front of a mirror, make it delicious as you like, looking at yourself in your left eye. Left eye is self.
Is what?
99% of the people on this planet, looking in your left eye, you will see yourself.
Oh, okay.
See yourself or any problem you're having with a same-sex person that you can work out in your eye. So you're literally closing your eyes, looking at yourself in the mirror in the left eye, and you're saying out loud, I am a joy to be with.
I am a joy to be with. All
and
right.
Just feel that. Like feel if that's flowing. Is that flowing?
No.
And where is it getting stuck?
In my body?
Yeah, where in your body is it getting stuck? You must know it's not flowing because it got stuck somewhere. Where did it get stuck?
Yeah, right. Well, it feels digestive. So whether
so somewhere down here, it got as far as here and then it went, bleh.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want you to say, I jump with joy. Looking into your left eye, I jump with joy.
I jump with joy.
And what's going on there?
It's not a really big jump.
Is it flowing? Does it go all the way down to your feet and into the ground? No. Okay, so it's getting stuck where?
Feels chest related.
Okay, I live in joy.
I live in joy.
And what's going on with that?
Well, that feels more flowy. Where does it stop?
Or does it stop? Or does that one go right to the ground?
Right to ground.
Okay, nice. So you do not in complete disharmony with joy. I create a joyful life for myself. I love the look on your face as we say that. I create a joyful life for myself.
I create a joyful life for myself.
What's going on?
A little bit higher up in the chest.
Okay, so it's stuck, right?
Yeah.
So I love doing this, and I love the fact that the guides gave you this a couple of weeks ago. This is NDT. This is looking at NDT and life energy activation, something that I did a long time ago, but bringing it into the present without me having to have a mirror in my room. Just letting you imagine the mirror, you sitting in front of the mirror. And it's just like, this is super cool. It works for people. Works for me. Seems to work for everybody. So mirror can leave my office and everybody can just imagine themselves in front of the mirror. So now you're starting to recognize, wow, these things aren't flowing. So now I'm saying to you, let's take responsibility for the fact that you are withholding these things from yourself. If they're not flowing, you are the creator of your life. So we don't know how you're doing it, why you're doing it, how you're justifying it. We don't really understand that, but we are recognizing you on some level. This is your life and you are withholding these things from yourself. And so you're taking responsibility for that. Like, I am taking responsibility for what in my life is being withheld from me. Jumping with joy, feeling like I'm a joy to be around, creating a life full of joy, and taking responsibility for these problems with joy, for withholding joy from my life in these ways. You good with that? So you're looking in your left eye in the mirror with your eyes closed. I am taking responsibility.
I am taking responsibility
For withholding joy.
For withholding joy
From my life.
From my life.
I am taking responsibility.
I am taking responsibility.
For withholding jumping with joy.
For withholding jumping for joy.
From my life. Feeling that I'm a joy to be around.
Feeling that I am a joy to be around.
From my life.
From my life.
I'm taking responsibility.
I am taking responsibility.
For a life that is not being created.
For a life that is not being created.
With more joy in it.
More joy in it.
So do you have in your mind with your eyes closed, do you have a little bit of an idea of what a digestive system looks like? Like, you got the stomach, you got the liver on one side, the pancreas on the other side, flanking each other. And then what my son would call the roundy thing, like the 25 feet of roundy thing. Can you get a vision for that? Yeah. So you're talking to the 25 feet of roundy stuff. And you're talking to all the cells, the trillions of cells, or the millions of cells that are making up what I'm calling the roundy 25 feet of small intestine. And you're looking at that and you're recognizing these little cells all trying to communicate with each other, all trying to do the best job that they can possibly do. And you're literally looking at all of that saying, I am so sorry.
I am so sorry.
I love you.
I love you.
I am so sorry.
I am so sorry.
That I am not cooperating.
That I am not cooperating.
With joy.
With joy.
That I'm not bringing more joy into my life.
That I'm not bringing more joy into my life.
That I'm making other things more important.
That I am making other things more important.
Than joy being in my life.
And joy being in my life.
I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry.
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
That this would impact you.
This would impact you.
Impact your ability to communicate.
Impact my ability to communicate.
Your ability. You're talking to cells. Your ability. Impact your ability.
Impact your ability to communicate.
To do your job well.
And to do your job well.
The best that you could do it.
Best that you can do it.
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
That would impact me.
That would impact me.
Doing my job.
Doing my job.
The best that I could do.
The best that I could do.
Coming up to heart.
Sorry?
I am coming up to heart.
I'm coming. Okay.
I am so sorry.
I am so sorry.
I love you.
I love you.
I understand you are deeply impacted.
I understand you are deeply impacted.
By the absence of joy.
By the absence of joy.
Just as small intestine.
Just as my small intestines.
Just as I am.
Just as I am.
The wholeness of me is.
The wholeness of me
is impacted.
It's impacted, right.
By the absence of this joy.
By the absence of this joy.
I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry.
That I haven't been able to figure this out.
That I hadn't been able to figure this out.
Joy has been compromised.
Joy has been compromised.
While I've been trying to figure a bunch of things out.
While I have been trying to figure a bunch of things out.
I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry.
So even though I don't know how to do that.
And even though I don't know how to do that.
Bring more joy into my life.
Bring more joy into my life.
Not throw joy out the window.
Not throw joy out the window.
To take care of all this other stuff.
Take care of all this other stuff.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
Even though I don't know how to do that right now.
Even though I don't know how to do that right now.
I am intending.
I am intended.
To fix this.
To fix this.
I am allowing.
I am allowing.
right now,
right now,
joy to be restored
joy to be restored
and made available
and made available
to me
to me
in my creation
and my creations
and in my life.
and in my life.
I'm doing that now.
I am doing that now.
I stopped it from flowing,
I stopped it from flowing,
made other things more important.
made other things more important.
I'm going to start joy flowing again.
I am going to start joy flowing again.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
You little cells at the heart,
You little cells of the heart
you are important to me.
are important to me.
All you little cells at the small intestine,
All you little cells of the small intestine,
you are important to me.
you are important to me.
Incredibly important to me.
Incredibly important to me.
My digestive system flowing
My digestive system flowing
beautifully
beautifully,
and properly
properly
is important to me.
is important to me.
My heart flowing
My heart flow
is important to me.
is important to me.
My life flowing
My life flow,
with joy in it
joy in it,
is important to me.
is important to me.
I make this change now,
I make this change now,
right now.
right now.
So H. pylori, we're
So-
talking about bacteria now. So H. pylori,
Laurie,
I'm talking to you.
I am talking to you.
I just made this home.
I just made this home
You've made in my small intestine
you've made in my small intestine
much more challenging for you
much more challenging for you
because I've lit it up
because I've lit it up
and joy is flowing again.
and joy is flowing again.
Thank you, H. pylori bacteria,
Thank you, H. pylori bacteria,
for making your home here,
for making your home here,
showing me this,
showing me this,
sending me this message.
sending me this message.
Message received,
Message received,
loud and clear.
loud and clear.
You can flow out now
You can flow out now
with no prejudice,
with no prejudice,
no judgment from me,
judgment from me,
just my unbelievable thankfulness
just my unbelievable thankfulness
and gratitude,
and gratitude,
infinite gratitude
infinite gratitude
that you've shown me this.
that you've shown me this.
You've set me straight
Set me straight,
and you've got joy flowing again.
and you got joy flowing again.
Inspired that.
Inspired that.
So inspirational you have been, H. pylori bacteria.
So inspirational you have been, H.
Pylori bacteria. I wish you all the best
I wish you all the best.
on your journey out of my body.
Journey out of my body.
You can do that now,
You can do that now,
right now,
right now,
with my thanks.
with my thanks.
And you're breathing.
And I'm breathing.
And you're breathing.
And I'm breathing.
So I'd like you to look in the mirror and I'd like you to say the statement, I jump with joy.
I jump with joy.
Is that flowing or not?
It's flowing.
Yeah, it's flowing.
Jump very high, but
It's flowing, but it's flowing. It's flowing, which means that possibility has been reinstated to you. Not locked down. It's not locked somewhere. It's like it's flowing. I am a joy to be around.
I am a joy to be around.
Is that flowing? Feels like it. I create my life with joy in it.
I create my life with joy in it. Mostly flowing. Still got stuck. It's much lower now.
Okay. So move forward because we're still in the process. So jump forward an hour because past, present, and future are all one. So jump forward an hour and we say the same thing. I create my life with joy in it.
I create my life with joy in it. Feels better?
And jump forward by a full day, 24 hours. 24 hours into the future, I create my life with joy in it.
I create my life with joy in it. That's better.
Yeah, nice. And what does it feel like in that area? Because you just pay attention to that whole intestinal area.
You know, it's hard to, how do I put this? To feel what is my intestine and what is my reproductive system. Does that make
Your
sense?
reproductive system, let's just go quite a bit lower for your reproductive system because it's going to be in the lower belly area. So I want you to be in the upper belly area, but not too high because you get too high and then you're in the diaphragm where the stomach is and where the lip. But if you get in that nice kind of, I'm going to call it mushy space because I don't have a six pack. If you get into that mushy space just above your navel,
Oh, okay.
get in that mushy space. Guaranteed you were in the roundies thing. Guaranteed. Okay, there's no ands, ifs, or buts. There's no mushiness there. That's what's going on right there is small intestine.
Okay.
And now what does that feel like?
Yes, it feels better. Feels better.
Yeah, so then we would ask the body if there are some other things other than what we've done, which is get honest with ourselves, take responsibility for what we've been withholding from our life, what we've been withholding flowing within us, the choices of that, repair that. repair the withholding, make the choice to not do that anymore. So even though we don't know how to do that, it's like we don't need to know how to do that. We've made a choice to flip the pancake. We've made a choice to go back to where we were creating life with joy, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then it'll all flow in. The answers will all come.
Okay.
Because I flipped the pancake.
Okay.
And so I'm open again to creating a life with joy in it. I'm open again to managing some of these things that I've been taking on, but not throwing joy away while I'm doing it.
Right.
Because I'm understanding the consequences to me. I'm understanding the consequences to these little cells. All of these little cells, these poor little cells, man. Why could I do that to these little cells? I love bringing it to that level. Because it's almost like you're just like these innocent little cells. Like, what did they do to be so corrupted by this? They just want to talk to each other. They just want to be part of systems. They want to be part of everything. They want to be connected. They want to work well. The poor little cells. So that I could make something else work well for somebody else's life, I've made this not work well for my little selves. And that's not okay. So even though I don't know how to do this, and I love that phrase, even though I don't know how to do this, I am flipping the pancake and I'm making a choice to bring joy back into my life.
I love it.
Right? And I love that. I love that beautiful phrase, even though I don't know how to do this. I'm making the choice to do it. I'm making the decision to do it. I'm making the decision to flip the pancake and bring joy back in, because the consequence of leaving joy out is too big. It's too big a price, man. It wasn't just my small intestine. It was my heart. Are you kidding me? And then it was my wholeness. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's way too big a price. Okay. And the other piece for you when we're looking at what to bring into you is what's going to help with these issues that's going to support wholeness. We don't want to bring oregano in to help with this. Like oregano is one of the first things I think about, oregano oil, when you've got an H. pylori bacteria or something. It's one of the first things I would think about, unless there's a lot of damage that's happened, and then I wouldn't put an essential oil like that in the gut at all. But it's all about wholeness. You know, are we bringing in anything? Do we need any support? You know, other than what we've just done and the bacteria that you've brought in, do we need anything else to support your wholeness in this transition, bringing balance back to the small intestine? And I'm not getting that we do.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not getting that we do. So whatever you're doing bacteria-wise, you know, keep doing it.
Okay.
Doing it. You're doing, and so this is going to be great because you're putting the good bacteria in. The bad bacteria is leaving. It feels very appreciated. It made its home there. It got seen. It got valued. Everything has ego. Everything likes to be valued. Everything likes to be appreciated. Job well done. Message received. I'm out of here. And you never know, like maybe the body brought this in. Did you ever consider body? Yes, body brought this in. You kidding me? Body brought this in. Body brought this in. You needed to see this. You were not seeing this. You were not seeing this. Body did not want to be in this position where this small intestine area was being this compromised, where you were compromising yourself. Your body loves you. Your body loves you. Your body wants the best for you. Your body is working with divine presence. Your body is working with your soul. This body works for you, is with your soul, is one with your soul. You're the one that has not been one with your soul. So soul and body working together, going, what are we going to do? What are we doing? She's off here. What are we going to do? So I'm like, they're discussing it. Yeah, let's bring in the H. pylori bacteria. Of course it's going to find its way here. She's got to get on board with this. She's got to make this change. This is not where soul wants all of this to fall in. She is not online with where soul is, and this body is soul's body. Wow. So it's a crazy concept to think that the body, when you are that offside, so loving to you, so much a part of a relationship with your soul, is bringing something into you because you need to frickin' wake up.
Nice.
And if it means that you are uncomfortable, then you are uncomfortable. Then let's figure this out.
Fascinating.
Because it's been way uncomfortable for this length of time that you are not, you know, coming into greater relationship with the soul and where the soul is. And it's a cool thing to say out loud. Right? And then the reason why, when you were talking about hormones, one of the basic things that makes sense to me with regard to this intuitive pointing out digestion first, of course she's pointing out digestion first. You can't make hormones Like if you need more estrogen, more progesterone, you make those hormones from proteins and fats. Like if you're not digesting things, and the small intestine is that section that absorbs everything up into the bloodstream. Like, so if that's not working properly, if you're not getting the chelated minerals combined with amino acids, getting the bath with the bile, getting sucked up through the root hairs of the small intestine, which are only in the small intestine, like so much happens in the small intestine to move stuff into the blood, then it totally makes sense that she wants this looked at first, because you are then not getting the constituents to be able to make the hormones. We've got to rebalance this.
Interesting.
We've got to make sure that those little amino acids, even if the stomach's doing a job to break all of this down, doing its job, getting so frustrated. It's like, I'm doing my job. We're chelating those minerals. Everything's working well. And it's not able to get up through the root hairs of that small intestine. Damn, that small intestine is just not, oh man, we nearly nailed it. And now it's not all going up there. And how do you make the hormones? How do you make the hormones if you don't have the amino acids combining with the fats to make the hormones? The answer is you don't.
Interesting.
You don't. So it made sense to me that she was highlighting this digestive piece first, and that she's highlighting the small intestine, and she's highlighting this relationship with joy.
Well, that's you.
Your relationship with joy.
Right.
Totally makes sense that she wants that looked at first. Then if we can make the hormones, which by the way needs some vitamin E for sexual hormones, if we can make the hormones, then do we have any allergy to any of them? Do we have any intolerance to any of them? Are we at peace with these hormones? If we let these hormones get bigger, are we actually at peace with this? You know, is this something that we can actually say yes to? You know, just a whole balanced kind of reproductive area relationship with hormones. It's another question. But first, we've got to fix the ability, if we can, to be able to make the hormone.
Right.
And not only that, make everything else. I mean, how many things do we make with amino acids? They're the building block of proteins. We make muscles. We make neurotransmitters. We make hormones. We make enzymes. We make bone matrix. We make brain tissue. Like everything in our body is made from proteins pretty much, with some fats connected to it and water. So if that's all not functioning properly, then nothing's really functioning optimally in the body when the protein ability has been compromised.
Okay.
So I really love H. pylori. Thank you to your soul. Thank you to your soul. Thank you to this body. She got it. She got it. She's getting it. She's really getting it. She's really getting that the soul is this lovely part of her that just is going to work to keep her solidly on track.
Love it. Oof. Well, that was a great show. And we didn't know where we were going to go for the.
We didn't know where we were going. And we don't get to shame the bacteria, right? The bacteria is not shamed. It gets blessed and thanked on its way out. Thank you. You know, you came in because the soul asked for this. The body asked for this. And we are going to send you out with great thanks.
Love it. All right. Well, you've been listening to News with the Heart. We've been getting the heart of what matters with Tracy McBurney. And well, for sure, we're going to talk about the learning button. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how everybody is where they're at with joy, but if they are a similar place, then this will probably help more than just us. All right.
It was fun.
Yes, it was. And we'll be back next month. Thank you, Tracy.